brought.
Okay, we'll call a meeting of the Bennington School Board for Wednesday, January 6th to order. What do these pertain to?
There's an amended consent agenda
Oh,
with an important item on it, and there are reports from the schools and the treasurer's report.
okay, well, first, do we have a task list?
Yes.
Okay,
The first item was provide service minutes for special ed students, which we did. The staffing list updated to include everyone employed by BSD. Is that covered?
No.
Is that on the sheet that was?
It's not on the agenda
All right.
either.
All right, I'll put it on
Just
this
right
one.
next to it, continue.
Was I responsible for that?
No, you weren't here during the regular meeting.
Okay.
So what do you want? What are you looking for?
The staffing list, who, was that you who wanted that last time?
Updated to include everyone employed by BSD. I don't know who asked for it, but that's what we want.
I can work with the principals and Jerry and get that.
Okay.
I don't know who asked for that.
I remember it happening, but I don't remember who asked.
Killing trees.
Okay, let the board and public know about rescheduled select board meeting concerning Act 46. And I think that was,
We haven't been told when that was.
okay. Act 46 questionnaire.
We still don't have that, do we?
I didn't get that either. And the last item was to talk about the late bus, which we just confirmed was being worked on.
we're still working on that.
Yep. Okay.
Okay,
So-
thank you.
They need to be carried over to the next meeting.
Yeah.
And the Act 46, Mr. Chair,
Yes,
please, at the next meeting, Act 46, as a line item on the, as discussion.
okay. Okay. Okay, next item will be the treasurer's report, which we were just handed, but electronically, I received it yesterday from our treasurer, Renee. I ran into her today and I asked her if there was any problems or anything. She said, no, everything's going all right, so. If you do have any questions, you can contact her at central office. But we do need a motion to accept the treasurer's report.
So moved. Second.
Gene seconds, before moves. Okay, all in favor of the treasurer's report?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Raise your hand. Unanimous. Rick, question?
I got one other under finance. It's actually maybe three others. We, the buildings, teachers, staff have received 3 separate grants, and you need to officially accept them and any restrictions that may come with them. So I'm hoping I can just kind of read them to you or just tell you, and hopefully one of the principals can weigh in and help me if you throw a question at me I can't answer. The first one is a grant from the Vermont NEA for your outdoor classroom here at Molly Stark that they talked about a couple of months ago to the tune of $500.
Is that Miss Page?
Yes.
So if you're so willing, if you could take a motion to accept that, understanding the restriction it has to go towards improving that outdoor classroom space,
Area. Yeah.
that would be helpful.
Okay,
I make the motion that we approve the grant from the Vermont NEA
and we'll use it as designated.
as
Okay.
designated.
Discussion? All in favor? Okay, unanimous, thank you.
Thank you. The second one, actually the second two, I think is, demonstrate some of the difficulty we have with the 3 buildings. This is actually a grant from the Vermont Reading Partners. But it's in the amount of $500 for the Partners in Reading program, but it appears to me, although it doesn't totally say it on here, but well, it does. It's for the Bennington Elementary school. So it would be a $500 grant to Bennington Elementary to support the Partners in Reading program. It doesn't say, for purchase of new books, help foster a love of reading and encourage families to read together. So I don't know if the other 3 buildings can apply for this as well, or how the board wants to handle.
I know a little bit about that. It was circulated this summer, and I think,
I know about it.
so how was it circulated?
It was offered to all buildings, and individuals needed to apply for it with a project or a way that they were going to implement the funding. And so it was left to people who wanted to apply, and not everyone got accepted through the Vermont Partners in Reading. It was a competitive grant.
Did everybody apply?
Molly did not.
Because you didn't know about it?
I wasn't aware of it. Doesn't sound familiar to me.
I think it was probably during my leave.
Could have been.
Yeah.
How come Molly didn't know about it?
Didn't read the email? Didn't?
It was sent around. It was not highly publicized. It was sent through a letter from the Vermont Partners.
Okay. I just don't recall. I don't recall seeing it.
Grant, but it
Yeah.
was competitive. Not everyone got it.
Yeah.
So just,
Do we have a motion to accept that?
So moved.
Second. All in favor? Unanimous?
thank you. And the last one is one we've talked about a couple of times. We received a check from Cumberland Farms
Oh,
to the
Grand opening.
tune of $2,637.09. This year, we chose Bennington Elementary School to benefit it. Donated money will go to the after-school program at Bennington Elementary.
Any restrictions on it?
Well, it sounds to me like the restrictions are the after-school program at Bennington Elementary.
Okay.
Can't be shared.
So moved.
second. Okay, so that can go for scholarships or equipment or anything.
Goes towards its transportation.
Yeah, let's go towards transportation. How much was that grant for?
$2,637.09.
Yeah, it's good for one day's, Okay, all in favor, accepting that? Okay, that's unanimous too.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you. Okay, personnel has nothing under the consent agenda. A new one. I'm sorry to see that Miss McKenzie here is going to be leaving us, retiring. She seems too young to retire, but
Thank you.
if she really retires, I'll tell you, she's going to really enjoy it. But
It's great.
we're sad to see you go, because you've done really a good job, and I hear so many good things about what goes on here, really. People don't know, sometimes have a negative, but I think people who have children involved here, grandparents who come to different things here, they really appreciate all you do here, so thank you from the board and everybody else.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
And to Miss Fagerholm, too, I've known her for a while, and she does
Yes.
a good job.
Yeah, she does a wonderful job.
And I don't know Miss Provenza.
She's not.
Okay, can we have a motion to accept the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Second. Okay, any questions on items in here at all? Seeing none, all in favor? Okay, that's going to be unanimous. Okay. Now, education matters, regular ed, Donna King, Molly Stark, principal.
Okay. Could you just pass those, please? Thank you. So one of the items that you had asked us to report on was sort of an overview of the after-school program for the first session, and so that's what we're sort of focusing on tonight. What I'm handing out to you is the flyer that went home in September. So it gives you an overview of a little description of each program that was offered, and just sort of to sum things up a bit. On Monday, we were offering 6 sessions with 76 students attending. On Tuesday, we had 5 sessions with 42 students attending. Wednesday, we had 3 sessions, and that's low on Wednesday because that's when we have our faculty meetings. We had 36 students attending, and on Thursday, we had 6 sessions with 63 students attending. So for the first session, we had a total of 218 students that attended attended sessions weekly, and we provided 63 scholarships for students, so no one was turned away because they weren't able to afford it. We are currently getting our second session ready to go. Our after-school facilitator is out for a couple of weeks, and we want to wait for her to return to organize everything for us and make sure it's all set to go. Another highlight at Molly, I'm not sure whether you've seen it in the paper or not, but our librarian, Allison Hoffman, has coordinated with Dr. Marie-Pierre Houjouet, perhaps? I won't get that right. She's the Assistant Director of the Continuing Ed Department at the CDC, and we call it the Paddington Bear Award. On the first Monday of each month, we have our Monday morning celebration, and she is just this wonderful woman with this French accent, and the school nominates a child as the Reader of the Month. And this doesn't mean necessarily that they're the best reader in the school, but they may have increased their time reading at home, they may have increased their level, they may just be showing some improvement in their reading strategies. So it's a total surprise to the child, but she comes in with her stuffed Paddington Bear and has a bag with lots of goodies in it, and those might be French chocolates or cookies or Paddington Bear pencil. The child's favorite book is in there. And so they're announced at the assembly who the winner is, and their parents have been notified ahead of time, so it's very sweet. And they get to have Paddington Bear for the day. That's their job. They have to take care of Paddington Bear for the day. So that's been wonderful. That's new for us this year at Molly.
Volunteers and comes in?
Yes, yes. Mrs. Hoffman, I believe, used to work at the CDC, so I believe that there's a friendship, maybe connection there. But Dr. Marie-Pierre just has a love for reading herself, and she's just very fun when she comes and talks with the children and really encourages them. So that's been sort of a highlight for Molly this year. We're getting ready to do our benchmarking in math and English language arts, FastBridge for the younger grades, MAP testing in the older grades, and then we'll be looking at that data to determine interventionist support and regrouping of students based on what we find. And that's sort of it for Molly. And I think you folks gave your written report already.
They gave us the written one.
Yeah.
What's nice about this is you have the age-appropriate topics. That,
Yes.
You don't mix K, a lot of K and 5, but that's good for little kids and then kids with older.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. Yeah. Very good. Any questions on this for Donna? Okay, thank you very much.
Sure.
Special ed, we had a president in NECC, she talked about that. Okay, policies, we have one to adopt and one to warn. We have 5004, prevention of harassment, hazing, and bullying of students. Can we have a motion to adopt this policy?
So moved.
Okay, second?
Second.
Okay, second. Any discussion on this? It's been around all the schools. We've seen it before. Okay, seeing none, all in favor of adopting 5004? Okay, that's unanimous. And 5015, personal learning plans. Is this something the state is requiring now that
Yes.
kids
For
have
the, it's for 7 through 12.
7 through 12? Okay. So it won't really affect us, but we still vote on it.
Does policy say that?
No, but it is, personal learning plans.
I thought it was supposed, when we were at 46 meeting a couple weeks ago, they, teachers were talking like it was for kids in all classrooms.
Eventually.
And I actually have some
It
issue
eventually
on how
will go
it's
there.
worded. And I called Jim, and he never got back to me because the way it's worded, to ensure all students in grades 7 through grade 12, I'm assuming they're talking about middle school, high school.
Right.
There's sixth graders in the middle school. So that should actually be worded 6 through 12,
But
because,
actually, the law comes from Montpelier and is worded 7 through 12.
but we have sixth graders in the middle school.
But they're completely
They're
separate,
a
because when you
separate
drive by
entity.
there, when there's a case 6, they are off, they go half days when the other 2 stay in, so I think they're really segregated up at that high school, and,
It's more or less with the counselors, not necessarily with the teachers.
I see your point, because there's mix at the school, but I think, like you
Yeah,
said.
but we don't have to write it just because the law's written that way. We can add 6
Yeah,
to it.
and also if the student is a minor,
Which 95% are probably.
every student below the age of 18 is legally a minor. So by referring to a representative of the school, and if the student is a minor and the student's parent or legal guardian, every student below the age of 18 is a minor. That's a legal term. So this policy really needs to be rewritten before it's warned.
Well, the policy just follows the mandate from the Vermont School Board.
You're in a policy committee,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, but is that word for word
Correct.
the way it comes down from the
Yes.
state?
They didn't change anything.
That
At-
just
and
means
at
that
this
the,
point-
sorry.
At this point, it is for those grades, it is a mandate that it is implemented this year for 7th graders and 9th graders. And then they're going to gradually increase each year as they move up. But it could also be moving down as they get implemented. It's just that it's a major step to make these personalized learning plans for students, and so it will be, and we can always relook at the policy in a few years if it's something that we want for lower grades, which might be a great idea. But at this point, it is a state mandate as part of Act 77 that we implement that for grades 7 through 12. And as far as the minors, we may have some students who are not minors, who are in an extended program at the high school where we had special ed students up to age 22.
Well, this is only referring to grade 12.
Right.
Which is not implemented this year.
I'd like
Only
to see
7
the
to 9.
administrative regs too on it.
Yeah, I got some issues about it.
Would you bring his concerns to your next meeting?
Why don't you, yes, email us the concerns, and we'll bring it to the policy committee. They'll meet
Or
again
if you
next
can
month.
make it, it's the first Monday of the month, right? Central Office Board.
Yep.
I know you're busy with all the other food services.
It's only
and stuff.
being warned now, it's not being voted on.
Right. This is the point. It's brought up, you read it very closely, and you've got concerns. Now, Jackie will
what
bring
it's
it
for.
back to the committee and mention those things about 6th grade. You can mention that too, yeah. Okay.
And I know what they're going to say. They just took the wording from the state, Act 77. I think if you put both of them together, you'll not find a difference.
Okay. Anybody else have any?
I guess the participation of the student's parent or legal guardian, that would just mean that in most cases, the student has a parent or guardian sign off or just be part of the conversation in the plan? Okay.
You would hope.
Yeah,
So they would sit down with the guidance counselor, draw one up, the parents probably get a copy, approve it, sign it, and then send it.
Just like, almost like an IEP.
Yeah.
From what I've seen, it's almost like an IEP.
Okay.
Because students at that level can make choices. Students at the grade school can't make choices. They can take a class from the CDC, for instance. They could opt to, in the last 2 years, they could opt to take a college program.
Yeah.
So that's all part of the planning. Sit with me, parents, sit with me, student. Let's plan this out.
Yeah. It seems like a good idea.
Pardon?
It seems like a great idea.
It is.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, I think we have a motion and a second on the floor for this one, to warn it. All in favor?
I'll
Opposed?
abstain.
Abstain, okay, Jean abstains.
It's got to go back,
Yeah,
so.
that's all right. Okay, is there a superintendent's report? I understand if there's not one.
Well, I guess I got a little bit late notice to think about this for you, but I would just say that we've been working consistently to develop and share through with the directors and the principals an evaluation plan that is consistent for everyone in doing a self-evaluation, setting goals for moving forward as a growth plan for all of our school administrators and leaders, and then working consistently throughout the year to meet with the principals. We just met with most of you to do that periodically throughout the year, so that then when we do evaluations on all the directors and principals, it really is led by their view of the leadership standards that from the state of Vermont and how they are best applying those and looking at areas that they find to be a challenge and want to improve or learn more about. So I think that it's been a really productive cycle, and we're hoping that it really builds into something that's useful and supportive for everyone and is consistent for everyone. So I would just give you that comment.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Donna, would you happen to know when we're going to meet with the paraeducators, start negotiating?
I have heard the end of January, and Ed is working on that with the representative from the para-negotiating team.
Okay.
And so I think that they're trying to set up the date for the first meeting now, which we're looking at hopefully by the end of January, but maybe early February. But they're working on finding a date.
And do you know if Jim set a Act 46 meeting for January? Because I talked to him early January, no, end of December, and he said he was going to set a date, but he never got back to me, so I'm not sure if he did or not.
I have not heard a date. I do know that, and invite anyone that would like to come, is we're meeting with the select board on Wednesday, and they would like to hear more about the Act 46 committee and what the
Wednesday
process.
when?
This coming Wednesday. It's
13th?
The central
it's an
office?
early morning meeting, and I
8 o'clock, yeah.
apologize, yeah.
8
yeah,
o'clock.
with the select board members who wanted to learn more about it.
Everybody's welcome, yeah.
Everybody's welcome.
Where is it?
It's at central office.
Yeah, Dan Monk sent that out today.
Oh, good, okay, good. Thank you.
An Act 46 meeting, or is that?
Okay, food service meeting on the 17th, did you have that?
Yes. We had a productive meeting for the Food Service Committee. We went over the free lunch and breakfast program, and we've had a 46% uptick in the breakfast service in the elementary schools and in the high school. And we've had a 15% uptick in the lunches. We looked at the January menus, and we had a good discussion as far as the nutritional values for all the offerings. we went over recruitment, and we welcomed 2 high school students into our ranks. We're going to make some visits to the schools as a committee. We're going to pay a visit over to Pownell, is the first school we have scheduled. After that, the Abbey Group representatives left the meeting, and we had a discussion as far as the RFQ that is getting ready to be released, so we can prepare to get ready for the, I forget what they're called, the quotes from different companies for our next food service contract. And I've received a couple of emails. The Abbey Group is not leaving us. Their contract is coming to an end, and they will be submitting a new proposal to continue as our food service provider. I had made a comment about the Abbey Group at one of the other meetings, and I received a number of emails and some text messages thinking that the Abbey Group was no longer going to be our food service provider. No, their contract is coming to an end, and they will be submitting a quote to continue. So that was pretty much the end of our meeting, and we'll be meeting, I think, it's January 21st is our next meeting.
Thank you. Did you have an idea when that request for proposals are going out? So by the end of the month, you think?
Yeah, I think it'll be going, actually, it'll be going out relatively soon, because we're pretty much at
Yeah,
the
because you'll be getting a new.
approval
right?
stage of it right now.
Good. Thank you for all that work.
Yes.
Nutritional, you talked about nutritional values of, like breakfasts and honey buns, and you want to report on that?
Well, oh boy, here we go.
You're not calling people names, Jackie.
Everything that is offered to the students follow the national requirements. Everything. Whether it's a breakfast stick, or it's the I forgot what they call the honey bun looking packaged item,
They're made out of wheat.
they all fall under the national guidelines.
Nathan accepted this? Is he on that committee?
Oh, from,
No, Nathan?
no, oh, yeah, he's on the committee. But they all follow, whether it's a packaged item or it's hot food, because the breakfast, we do breakfast in the classroom. And right now, one of our biggest issues is in Pownell, and getting the breakfast to the classrooms. And we're working on getting that squared away.
We don't need to talk about Pownell, we're talking about Bennington.
And we're talking about nutrition. For instance, the honey bun, could be substituted with a power bar.
Very few, if any, power bars fall into the national requirements.
A lot of sugar.
Pa- the honey buns, or they don't call them honey buns. I don't have one in front of me to give you what they call it. But everything that is served falls inside the national standards.
Yeah, because I'm sure they have to apply for reimbursement for the lunches, and when they look over
Yeah.
the menu, they wouldn't give them reimbursement if they didn't
Yeah,
follow it.
everything that is served right now by the Abbey Group falls inside the national standards, the requirements that are placed upon the Abbey Group by the requirements. We've gone through them, and what it may look like if you look at them and you read the labeling, they're fine to be served.
I just want to clarify my concerns. I've never seen what's served for breakfast, so I can't comment on it myself. I was just told from a few teachers and some public people come up and said, well, you're on the board. Will you find out why they're serving the kids this stuff? So that's why I'm asking the questions.
And it's more perception. They see this
Honey bun.
honey bun, sticky bun, whatever you want to call it, and they go, okay, well, this is okay to eat, then that must be okay to eat. It's more perception. This is okay to eat.
But that chocolate bar's not.
Right, or that power bar isn't okay to eat.
We had also heard, I think, from Rick, that they had ordered some containers to keep the food warm, and they weren't in, and so they had to get approval. In the meantime, this is what they were feeding the youngsters, I guess.
Right, and it's also, it comes down to, they're going to substitute more hot meals, and then it's also a thing with getting the teachers to go along with programs as far as bringing the food to the classrooms, and then it's also getting the teachers involved with the garbage that is in the classrooms by bringing the hot foods into and getting things served in the classroom and getting things picked up. And it's a whole process. And it's mostly on the elementary side as opposed to the middle school and the high school, you're dealing with older kids. So it's a whole big process. But the sticky buns, or whatever you want to call it, that are served in the classrooms are within the regulations. And I invite anyone that wants to come that doesn't want to believe is more than welcome. Anyone out in the public is more than welcome to attend any Food Service Advisory Committee meeting we have them on the third Thursday of the month at 3:30 at the conference room at the middle school, which is directly behind the office. You're more than welcome to come. And that's, unless someone else has a
No, I
question.
just want you to know where I'm coming from.
Yep.
Okay, but thank you for all the work you put in, I can see. Technology, still no meeting since the summertime.
I'm not on that committee.
No meeting.
No meeting, okay. December
Since
8th,
last year.
SBSU met December 8th, and it was just a regular meeting, nothing big, and I think it set a new record. I think it was 22 minutes long.
That is a new record.
Was it, for SBSU meeting? That was really fast, and just bring it to your attention.
Well, it's not on here, but we had an Act 46 meeting in Shasberry. Where the
Yes.
Shasberry community was invited. And I honestly felt that it went really well. There was a lot of dialogue about things that could happen. Some of the residents brought up their concerns about maybe their school being closed or those kind of things. And they were asked us what we were looking at. There's no real decision on which way we're going. That's why I would like the BSD board to have a discussion about this at the next meeting with their pros and their cons, with that questionnaire, and we discuss where we want to go.
Okay.
Because we got to come up with something by the end of June to give to the Secretary of State.
Well, by June?
Yes.
Okay, under the chair's report, I was going to mention a legislative breakfast on Wednesday at 8 o'clock at Central Office.
Not legislative.
Is that it?
I'm Selectmen, I'm sorry, yes. When is, you know when the next
It's
legislature?
February,
It's in February?
hold on.
You said it's at 8 o'clock?
Yeah, it's usually 8 AM, right.
Okay.
I think it's,
Legislative at 7:45, I think.
right, but
I just wanna make sure
the
I'm
legislative
not-
breakfast, I think, is scheduled right now for 7:30 on the 1st of February.
Okay. Tentative legislative, February 1, 7:30. And I did get a memo from our secretary, a little slight increase in the cost of taking minutes, very, very small in change. Okay, that's all I have. Anybody have anything other they'd like to bring up?
Are we going to go out for bid?
Does it,
Seeing none, do
does
you
it
have
fall under
something?
the bid?
If nobody has anything, then we have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
You have a second?
Task list.
Oh,
I'll be
task
quick.
list.
Okay, I'm sorry, go ahead.
All right, first item, bring in teacher contract, look at allowable contact time with students, just to make sure that Jackie is right on that. Second item, staffing list updated to include everyone employed by the BSD, and we decided that Rick would do that. Third, Act 46 questionnaire and discussion for the next meeting, and Ken is in charge of
Okay.
that.
Can I add one other item for the
Yes.
next meeting? Field trips. Some of the teachers asked me to ask about field trips. And are there an adequate number of field trips? Personally, I think they're very important, especially for kids in the lower grades, but, you know, are they happening?
I think we'd ask the principals, they would know about field trips.
Would you like to know?
Sure, if you know.
Does each class have at least one field trip throughout the year?
Yeah, it's actually a goal. We've had a few already. We've had classrooms go to One World Conservation. We had our 4th and 5th graders go to Williams College to the planetarium for a full day. We also have a lot of programs that come into the school. Second Chance Animal Shelter comes in. We have the Vermont Symphony Orchestra coming in. So I think there's a combination of not only field trips that leave the premises, but we also have guest artists and performances come into the school equally. Trying to think about some other items
I
that
know
have
that
happened.
the-
Whole school field trips we've done.
Yeah,
went to-
buses are hard to come by.
Buses are difficult. That's what really kind of drives the ability to go on some of these field trips. If we can get grants from, like, the planetarium or even museum down in, trying to think if it was North Adams. Sometimes venues. Mass MoCA, but sometimes venues will provide a grant to help you with transportation, but that is really the biggest indicator of what drives us to be able to do that. It's quite expensive.
So
But the other two schools, you basically have like one at least per class?
Yeah, usually at Molly, there's some sort of large field trip at the end of the year when the weather's nice, and but a lot of the classrooms will, as Donna was saying, we'll do something local. We go to the Bennington Museum. Clark Museum is good about paying for the transportation. So we do, you know, some classrooms do more than others, but everybody does at least one outside of school.
And if I may also add that our parent group, AIM, often funds the transportation for field trips. And so what they'll ask us to do is to really combine a couple classrooms, so we're filling the bus and making it worthwhile. But they are very supportive in regards to that fee.
So I guess if we had any extra money, we could put it towards field trips.
I have a question. Nature's Classroom. Anybody going there this year?
We currently have our 5th grade parents who are fundraising to Target going.
Do we have a cost of what it costs?
Yes, it is, I believe it's close to $400 a student.
How many students do you have in your fifth grade?
We have,
Donna.
pardon?
Mackenzie.
60?
44, 45?
It's 100. 40,000.
No, I can find out exactly what that cost is, but I'm pretty sure it's the upper level. I think it's very much close to the $400
I mean,
mark.
I'm glad that, you know, you have a special group of parents. But I really, really feel that kids at Molly Stark and Bennell need to have the same opportunities that we have in your school.
Bennington Elementary School has gone to the Nature's Classroom
Yeah, but
field
that
trip.
was many years ago.
Oh.
And this is the second year for you.
4 years ago, they went,
It was about 4 years ago.
they went with Woodford.
Right, correct.
Yeah, this will be, I believe, the third year. It was initiated by an invitation
Yeah.
from Woodford.
Woodford is also, they contacted me last year and asked us if we could somehow look to put it in our budget. I mean, like I said, I really, it's my strong feeling, and I don't know if any of the other board members feel this way, but I feel that the kids at Bennell and Molly Stark need to be provided with the same opportunities that they have at Monument. And I understand, Donna, that you have a very supportive AIM group, and we don't have that at
AIM actually doesn't support the Nature's Classroom field trip. I want to be really clear about that.
or the fifth graders.
They don't fund,
Parents.
AIM does not fund that field trip at all. I would agree with you. I think it's a remarkable field trip and opportunity for children. I hear nothing but positive about it. It's actually really spearheaded by the parents within that fifth grade. AIM is very separate from that. They don't fund Nature's Classroom.
So we need to find $40,000.
Well, I mean, I'm strongly feel, I don't know what the rest of the board feels, but
Can we put that down on the task list?
And may I
Find
request?
$40,000?
Well, we do have,
And may I request, if that is something that the board is considering funding, that I would request that it be for all the fifth graders
It would
then
be.
through,out
We
not
wouldn't do
just
it just for one.
Bennington, okay? Because I'm thinking maybe.
it would be. But what I'm saying is, it's just so, it just doesn't seem fair. And in my mind, it doesn't seem fair that we leave out two schools, and one school gets to do this 3 years in a row, and I don't think the kids at Molly have ever done it. I know the kids at Woodford do it every year. But that's a smaller school, and they have all kinds of, they have the small school grants, they have the forest money, they have their tax money, and they can afford it, and it's 23 kids at the most.
I think we should put it on our wish list and say, please, Rick, find $40,000 so that we could.
Well,
fund
we're
this.
gonna need, how many kids you have in your fifth grade?
We have, I'm thinking just off the top of my head, I believe there's 19, we probably have 30 children, because we have a 4 or 5 combination classroom, so I'm trying to think of the 3 numbers.
How much?
130 times 400.
That's what I'm doing.
Are you kidding me? $43,000.
Yes, I'm having problems with it.
$43,000. It's okay.
I had 42.
So what are we doing? Are we going to begin the
Why don't we just round it
conversation?
up to 45,000?
Or are we going to?
It's 42,
Yeah, we need to come up with a
$45,000.
52, yeah.
52.
And I,
Yeah, 52.
See?
and I,
And who's going to be?
Well, just like, I always thought it was a shame that we cut out the Four Winds Science program, because I know, I did it for about 8 years at Bennell with other parents and grandparents, and I thought it was, really good program. Monument was always fully staffed, and they had a few people working here at Molly, and that was like a $4,000 or $5,000 a year cost, because all we do is, someone comes in and trains you, and then you go in a classroom, so it wasn't a big deal, but the kids really loved that stuff.
This is a week program, and
Oh, yeah, my granddaughter went on
And
it.
kids will,
I know.
I mean, I have grandkids that went on it that, when they lived in Woodford, that still talk about it.
Oh, yeah, great. They put the phones away and they just live in the woods for, 3-4 days. It's good.
They learn how to live off nature.
Okay,
Look at the bigger primaries.
anything else? Okay,
Oh, yeah.
do we already have a motion to adjourn?
We already moved and seconded.
All right, all in favor? Unanimous, thank you.